everyone, Robbie the Painter here. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. I'm thankful for a lot of things. I say my prayers every day, or I try to. Life is so amazing. And before we get started on the subject of being thankful, right before I came in here, I went out there to check on my wife. You guys know that my wife is on hospice and I take care of her. I've been doing it for a long time, about 13 years now. She's diabetic. I test her, give her shots, pills, all that stuff. And I went out there to check on her before I came in here to let her know that I was going to do a painting episode. And you guys have asked about how she's doing and that. I don't film her a whole lot, just, respect for her privacy. But she was in a especially good mood. She's only got a 10-second memory, so she forgets things a lot. Literally in 10 seconds, she's forgotten what we've talked about. But I took the camera out there just to show you guys she's doing well, and to share that with you. I'll run that right now. Beautiful. I'm gonna make you beautiful. More beautiful than you already are. I try. I do my best. Okay, you want to lay back this way? Let me straighten you up just a little bit. Is that comfortable?
Yeah.
You still watching Andy Griffith?
Yep.
Did I tell you how much I love you today?
No, you have not.
Not yet?
No.
I love you this much.
How much?
This much.
How much?
Oh, that much. Mwah. Okay. I love her. I don't know what to say. I'm thankful. Back to the thankful thing. I'm thankful for my wife. I'm thankful for my family. And I'm thankful for you guys. Let's get into this episode where we're going to do some shading. Here's the colors we're using. Only a couple. If I add anything else, I'll put it over here. Let's get into this episode. So glad you guys are here. Here's my paint palette with my colors. And look, guys, I didn't squeeze out a whole tube of paint. We don't need a whole bunch here. We start out with a little. We can always add more if we need it. This is a dry canvas. There's nothing on it. It's already primed. We're going to say that's good. And our medium that we're using, besides the oil paints, is odorless thinner. That's all we're going to use. And just dip in our brush. And I've got a 3/4 inch flat brush. That's what we're going to be using today. So dip into our thinner, a little bit of thinner, a little bit of Payne's Gray. Let's come up here and make some shapes. So you guys can do a Z, right? There's a Z. That's a shape. You're like, what the heck are you doing, Rob? I thought we were learning to paint. That's a Z. Yes. So do a Z on your canvas. We're gonna do some stepping stones. Okay? That's what we're doing. Some stepping stones. And square shapes. 2 stepping stones. Let's change the shape of this just a little bit. Okay, this top line here, when we did our Z, it's almost like water. We're going to keep this horizontal. The top of these stepping stones are going to be horizontal. The top of this one is horizontal. The top of this one's horizontal. We're not too worried. Don't worry if they don't look like, we don't want perfect squares. We want odd shaped, okay? So there's our 2 shapes. Let's go around let's outline those shapes. Dip into a little more thinner, a little more Payne's Gray. Okay. All we're using is Payne's Gray and thinner right now. That's it. We've got 2 blocks here. 2 stepping stones. Okay. That's the top of that one. That's the top of that one. Let's let's figure out how thick we're going to make these stepping stones. Right there, come down and across. Here's the corner of this. There's a corner, there's a corner. Let's connect the dots. And bring that across like that. Let's bring this one down and over. This one is behind this one. Okay? We've just drawn two blocks. We're gonna make them stepping stones, but they're 2 blocks. We could put a third one back here if we wanted. Let's see. There, and somewhere there. So you step there, you step there, you step there. That's what we're gonna say. All right, dip into a little more thinner. A little more Payne's Gray. Now we're gonna start outlining our shape, and we're gonna add just some marks here in the middle. Just some marks. Before we go any further, so I don't lose you guys with me so far on this? The top of these stepping stones probably is getting light. The sides and down here on the bottom of these stepping stones is going to be a little darker. Let's go ahead and make those darker. Let's make the underneath a little darker. Just scrub it. Scrub it. This one a little darker. This one a little darker. Under here. Scrub that in. Same here, get a little more thinner. Gonna need to keep dipping into your thinner. This one darker here. This one darker here. Okay, there. We've outlined our stepping stones. Now's the time where we're going to stand back and look at these stepping stones to make sure that the shape of it looks right on each stone. Yeah, I think it's a good enough start. Okay. Without going into any more black, let's get a little thinner on our brush. And let's start with this top one here. We're just gonna take some of this color from the edges. Try not to get too much into the dark. We're wanting this top to be light. Again, the top of these stones would be a little bit lighter than underneath, so we're not adding color, we're just moving it around. Same here. Let's just come up here around by the edges and bring some of that color into the top of this stone. Same here on this bottom one. We're just going to spread this gray around. Okay, it ran out of thinner, a little more thinner. Make sure you wipe off your brush. You don't want a whole bunch. I'm going to come up into some of our black around the edges, kind of come over to it and bring it out into the middle. Now I'm just going back and forth. So we just want to get, all we're trying to do right now is make the underside of these stepping stones dark and the top light. That's all we're trying to do. Now we stand back, take a look. Not bad, not bad. We're seeing some shadows and some shapes. And that's what we want. Stepping stones have all kinds of different shapes and that kind of thing. So now we're going to move our brush around. Maybe this needs some cracks and stuff like that on it. So let's go into just a tiny bit of black, and how we kind of have these lines here. Let's put in some, let's come over here from the edge and put something in. And there. Don't need a whole lot. It just makes it look like there's something going on with these stepping stones. Now let's go into more Payne's Gray. Let's get that a little bit on, and I'm not adding thinner, so I want this to be kind of black, a little darker. Let's come over where the top of this meets the underside and the shaded part of this. Let's follow this line that we've got. And you figure out where your line is going to be. See how that defined the top from the edge? This is kind of all blurry on this one. So what we're going to do is define this. Here we're going to define the edge. And it doesn't have to be a straight line. So if I go up or down or over, up, down, over, it gives that stepping stone a little bit of character. See how that is? And maybe we bring some of that black up here, like there's a crack or something. And that one has a crack. So every now and then, just take your brush and do a little mark near the edge. Okay, let's go around the rest of this and darken in the lip of these stones. And every now and then we'll add something into it, like I just did there. Took my brush and pulled it that way. Now the top of this stone doesn't look like a square, processed, stamped out stepping stone. We're not looking for that. We're making, these are stones. These are real rocks. They've got a flat side to them, a flat top. Well, not completely flat. They've got some character to them. Okay, where does this one go here? The lip. If we stand back, we can kind of see how it is. See, when I'm up here, I can't see that lip that well. We just want to darken that in. The underside of these stones is going to be a little darker than the top. Same here. Let's darken this in a little bit. And let's take and add some character to it. That's what we're doing when we take our brush and we just add some lines. Okay. And I'm still using this 3/4 inch flat brush. I'm not using a liner brush. If we used a liner brush, we could put, and we're probably going to grab a liner brush here in a second. All right, let's set our flat brush down. Let's grab a liner brush. I said we'd probably use a liner brush. Get some thinner on our liner brush. Go into some of this Payne's Gray. You guys are probably wondering, why'd you put Indian yellow and cadmium yellow on there? We haven't even used them. No. So far, this is just black and white. Just showing you how to add some detail and some shading using just Payne's Gray and thinner. Let's take our liner brush and let's darken in some of these features. Make sure you got enough paint on there. And every now and then, we're going to put some cracks coming from the edge of our stone So we come over here to the edge of our stone, get some color on here on our liner brush, edge and come in, edge and come in, come over to the edge, like you're doing tree limbs. That's what the brush strokes we're making is like we're doing tree limbs. Okay. I like it. I like it. Same over here on this next one up here. Adding some details. Come over from the edge of our stone and follow that out. Edge. Put some cracks in here in these stones. You don't have to on yours if you don't want to put any cracks. Just saying. Gonna add a little bit of detail. All right. Add some up to this one here. Little cracks, little details. This stone looks like it needs to be just a little taller here on this top side. Let's go back to that paper towel. Let's take our paper towel. Let's rub a little bit of this dark off. We do want the underside darker. But we want a little bit of character on it too. So what we're going to do, just lighten up some of this. Okay, and again, you stand back, look. Let's grab our flat brush. How's that looking in the camera? Not too bad. Okay, need to make this a quicker episode. So we lighten up some of this, but at the very bottom, it's going to be dark. Very, very bottom. So, same idea that we did to the top, where we put these character lines and cracks and crevices. We're going to come under here with this dark and come across the bottom where it meets the ground, if these stepping stones are on the ground. And every now and then, we bring that dark over. Just give it a little character. Some bumps, some recesses. All the little character marks that a stone would have. Again, come up here to this one. The very bottom, it's darkest. Very bottom. And maybe that crack goes up like that. So I made a little crack, and I connected it up here to the crack that goes on the top of this right here. Kind of tying that in. Like this one right here. A little crack right there. So I had just put a little detail right there. Exciting. All right, this one over here. I know we lightened up that edge, and I'm going back over it, and I'm going to darken it up now. Because, you know what? You can change. As you stand back, you look, you change your mind. Okay, go back to our liner brush real quick. Just add a little bit of detail here. Okay. Back to our flat brush. Let's finish up this bottom where it's going to be really dark. We're getting there. Getting there. I'm liking it. Okay, we've got some stones. They're not rolling at the moment, but I don't think they might gather moss. Rolling stone gathers no moss. While we've got black on our brush, I'm not even going to wash it. Let's go into some of this cadmium yellow. You guys out there watching, what does black and yellow make? What color? Green. You're right. Sherry, you got it right. Black and yellow makes green. And it's a cool color green. Okay? Let's grab a little thinner. Let's thin that black and yellow mix, that green out just a little bit. Let's come under here, under the stones, and let's outline our grassy area. We're going to put some grass in this. We're not doing a painting. We're just doing a tutorial on how to shade some objects. The object we're doing today are stepping stones. That's what we're doing. But we're going to add a little bit of grass in that underneath these. Okay, back into our color. A little bit of black, a little bit of yellow. Mix this green color. And we're going to scrub that in right up against our blocks. If you go up into your block, that's okay. That's all right. Just going to add some color so we know that there's a background here. Just went into a lot of thinner. It's moving everywhere. Running off my canvas, so I'm going to push it around. Push this thinner around and okay. You guys with me so far? Good. All right. Darken that up. Yeah, our stone goes down to the... As I stood back, the front of this stone looks like it's tipping backwards. Let's change that. Let's bring it down into the grassy area. Let's change the shape of our stone as we look. Stand back and look. Bring it down just a bit. I've got a lot of thinner on the canvas right now, so it's kind of working against me. If you get too much thinner on your painting, on your canvas, take a paper towel and wipe it off. In fact, let's go ahead and do that now, because I'm getting too much green mixed in with this, our stepping stone here. Let's wipe off some of that. I want this to be dark. I just put some more Payne's Gray on my paint palette. I ran out of Payne's Gray. I love Payne's Gray. You know, it's the newest color that I started using. I'd never used it before, hadn't bought it, and I bought Payne's Gray. So it looks black, but it's a little different than Midnight Black. If all you have is Midnight Black, use that instead of the Payne's Gray. It's still the same idea. We're looking for a dark and light is all we're doing. We're doing shading and shadowing on these stones. Bring the stone down into our grass a little more so the shape of our stone looks right. Maybe this corner comes down a little more. Yep. This is where I'm doing a little fine tuning on the shape of the stone at the bottom. Not so much at the top. The top can be a little more flexible but I want this to make sure it looks like it's coming down to the grassy area. And we want to keep that horizontal like we're doing water. You know, Bob Ross used to say, make sure when you're doing your water, it's level, it's horizontal. If you do your water like that, looks like your water's running off the canvas. Same with our stepping stones. We're not as worried about the top of these stones as we are where it meets the ground. Come up here with a dry brush with just a little tiny bit of thinner. Let's lighten up the edge of that. I like that. Wipe off our brush. Let's lighten that up right there. Wipe it off. Let's come over here and let's lighten up that right there. So look how this is defined against from this stone. This was all dark. I know I said we've got a little bit of shadow, but then I stood back and I didn't quite like that. So by taking off some of that dark paint, it's really making that stand out. I like that. Let's come down into our grassy area. Let's darken. Make a little shadow right here underneath. Grab a little more black. Little shadow off this corner here. Darken that up. Little shadow under this one. Darker. Maybe a little darker than that. We want that green color, just a darker green. So I'm adding a little black at a time to give our shadow. And that's just shadow underneath these blocks. Okay. Let's add a little more detail to our stepping stones with a liner brush. Get a little thinner. Come into this Payne's Gray or Midnight Black, whichever dark you have. And let's take our liner brush and let's just dab very lightly here and there. Touch a couple spots. We're just making little marks and moving on. Maybe every now and then, if you see where another crack needs to be put in, but mainly we're just going to add some little dots. Just a couple dots and some little squiggles every now and then. So that from a distance, your stone, your pathway stones look like they've got a little more detail going on. Just touching and dabbing. Sometimes come down here. We can do that underneath the stone. Add some little dots and some lines and that. Just touching and moving on. Touch, move on. Grab a little more paint. Come up here to this one. Now you get, this is not a real tiny liner brush, but if you had, a real tiny one, you could get little tiny dots on your stone. If you ever look at a stone, they've got all kinds of holes in them and that kind of thing. That's what we're doing. Just putting some detail. Putting some detail stuff. You guys put as many or as few as you want on your stones. Maybe you don't want to do this step. Maybe you've been following along with me, and what you've got right now looks awesome. Leave it alone. You don't have to keep working it. You know, if what you're doing, it already looks good, don't keep working it. You know how I tell you guys nothing's ever set in stone? No pun intended. Well, actually it was. No, nothing is ever set in stone. But if we wanted to change this, the shape of our stone, because every time I look at this, I step back and something's bugging me about this one. Maybe you guys think it's fine. I'm going to take this corner and lighten it up. Just rub some of that off. Some of that dark off. And maybe back here. Just going to change the shape just a little bit. This is how we change the shape of stuff. And while I'm seeing it, I want the underneath of this to be a little lighter. Yeah. Oh, I like it. Here's how we're changing the shape. Grab our flat brush. Stand back. What was I seeing? I wanted this corner to not come back up here so far, but come out here just a little bit. Something like that. And then we're going to take this and blend it this way. So the edge of this stone looks like it drops off, and then it gets flat here, and then it kind of drops off and it gets flat again, and then it goes underneath down here where it's really dark at the base. Right? See how every time you do something, you add light or dark, it changes the look of. So we can draw this back in, this dark lip, but now it looks like there's a shelf. We just created a little step shelf on this rock without much effort. Now we can take our liner brush. Let's add some detail, some little squigglies to this little shelf. And some dots. And stand back. Man, I don't know about you guys, but looks like a stone to me. I think that needs to be lighter right there. As I'm standing back, and you guys do the same, this right here on the corner, the light might be hitting it. It's a little lighter. Maybe it comes back just a little farther. That looks higher, and then it steps down. This edge is a little higher than these over here. You stand back and you go, ooh, you know, what if I darken this? What if I lighten that? What if and all we did was, to start out with, was we started with the Z to kind of get you started on your shapes. And we made, you know, little rectangle, little square, and gave that depth, came down with our lines like that. All right, let's move on. What can we add to this? This is going to be a longer episode. I just can't do short episodes, I guess. I don't know. If we had this stepping stone, what if we put a rock wall back here? You guys have a rock wall in your yard or around your property and that? I think rock walls are cool. And let's figure out where the bottom of our wall is. So let's draw a line. Let's draw a line where this wall is going to be. Make sure we're going to make it straight, horizontal. like our water. And let's dip into a little thinner. Let's make some shapes. Rock wall. So let's make these round type shapes. So what I mean by that is, there, you guys can do that, right? Let's make another one. Like that. They don't have to be perfectly round. You can make them, look at that. There's a little odd shape. Use your imagination. We're just gonna make some shapes all the way across for our rock wall. Get some more thinner. Get some more Payne's Gray or Midnight Black. Now, as we're going across with this rock wall, this row is going to disappear behind this top stepping stone. Okay? Just to let you know. So when you're making these stones, don't keep going up this way, like setting them on top of the stepping stones. We want them to, they're going to kind of disappear. That's going to give us the illusion that that rock wall, and we're going to keep this straight, goes behind these stepping stones. All right, there's our first row. Now, we're going to make another row of rocks, and let's put them in between. So let's draw a circle over the joint. Instead of doing, you guys understand what I'm saying, right? So our next row is going to be like this. In between these two, we put one on top. In between these two, we put one on top. And again, let's make the shapes a little different. All right, that one's kind of, oh, this one needs to be a little bit bigger. Okay. I got off of my my pattern here. So this next one's going to be in between these two right here. This next one comes off of that. So something like that. I'm just going to make a couple rows here of a rock wall. A little more thinner. Wipe that off. Oh, I got a lot. All right. Some of them look a little square. Some of them are round. Just going to draw some rock shapes. You could, if you want to keep it simple, let's say, you've never drawn, you've never painted in that. You want to do a circle like that? That's fine. Do a circle. Because all we're doing is I'm doing shading techniques like we did down here. Light, dark, dark and light. Okay, there's our rock wall. Now, these white areas where the rocks sit on top of each other and meet, those joints, let's darken those in. Let's go back. We've got our shapes. Let's start darkening in. Let's start from the left-hand side, go across the top row, second row. We got 3 rows of stones. So where the joints are, like right here, right here, right here, we fill that in. Get a little more paint. And let's retrace. This will help with fill these joints in. Let's retrace our shapes and make sure that where the joints meet, it's dark. We're just darkening in our shapes now. And wherever we see the joint, make sure that that's dark. Right here, we've got these 3, that one, and that one. Where this one sets on top of these 2, There's a little pocket down here. Well, let's darken that up. We don't know what's in that pocket. Well, let's darken that up. For now, we may change that. So we can change whatever we want. Again, nothing is set in stone. Because we're doing stone. Yeah, we're... All right. Just going around, outlining. I'm gonna have to get some more Payne's Gray. Running out. And as you can see, these joints are pretty thick. I didn't do thin lines for our shapes. Okay, we're liking it so far? Oh, I got down into my stone. Maybe I can take my finger and just rub that. There we go. Let's wash off that brush with your dry flat brush. And that's what I'm using. If you have a flat brush, I think it works best for this particular. If you have a little round brush, that'd work too, but I like this flat brush, 3/4 inch. If you got a little smaller one, that's fine. We're with no paint on it. We just lightly dried it off. Let's come around these rocks right on the inside edge. So I'm talking about this edge right here, not the top edge, not the outside of the stones, but we're going to stay on the inside of the stones with a fairly dry brush. And let's draw our shape. On the inside. Every now and then, wipe your brush off. We want to keep it fairly dry. So we're just going to come around the inside of these shapes. See what we're doing? You're like, Rob, that doesn't look like stones. Well, maybe not yet. We're working on it. We're working on it still. Bear with me. What if, just so you guys don't lose interest, what if I take this color and I kind of move it around there? Take my finger and blend that. Does that look like a stone? A little more, doesn't it? Okay, let's dry off our brush. And let's come around the edge of our stone. Take our finger and blend that just a little bit. Stand back, what have we got? We got some stone shapes. I'm liking it. Maybe I'll just use my finger. You guys didn't know we were doing finger painting today, did you? I didn't either. I'm liking the effect of this. If you don't want to get your fingers dirty, keep using the flat brush. Just make sure it's dry. Rinse it off with the thinner. It can have a little thinner on it. If nothing's moving, if your paint's, I don't know why it would be dry, because it shouldn't be dry. But if it's not moving, add a little thinner to your brush. We're getting some different looking rocks, aren't we? Just by going around our shape, bringing some of that color into the center, Taking our finger, wiping off. Let's keep going. Around the outside. Bring some of that color around the outside. Bring some of that color around the outside. And I'm scrubbing around the outside. We want the center of these rocks to still have that light look to it, the lightest part in the center. But we want some of this Payne's gray, this dark, to come in. It gives it our shading and shadows and our character. Okay? Let's keep going around the outside. We're almost done with that. I take my finger every now and then when I stand back and I'm like, okay, that's too light in the center. I come up and I rub it. And I kind of blend in the dark and the light. And we're not leaving them alone. We're gonna do something else to these, I think. I just wanted to show you guys how you could draw shapes, outline it, go back over it like we are right now, bring some of that color in. Okay, everything's kind of got some color on it, outside, inside. Let's start defining our cracks. These are dark here, these look good. I kind of used our Payne's gray and kind of moved it around. Let's darken these cracks back. Let's come back in and darken some of these joints, these cracks where our rocks meet. Darken that back up, just so we've got some definition. And so I'm just kind of retracing what we did. Right. I don't want to get into these cool textures of our stones now, of our rocks. I don't want to get into that. I'm just going around and making sure we see the joints of where these rocks kind of sit together. Darken that up. Hope you guys are having fun, or you might be learning something about this. Oh, there's my clock. Must be time for me to quit. Well, I think we're going to stop right here. I'm going to make this a two-part episode because there's other things that I want to do, and I think we're already at an hour, and I don't want you guys to have to sit through, a 2-hour episode, 3-hour episode. Those don't seem to be very popular. So let's make this a two-parter. We'll come back to this on the next episode. I'll put a part 2 up there, but I think we achieved what we were going for. We've got some shading on these stepping stones, and we've got a rock wall started. We need to add some more details to the rock wall, and maybe we'll throw some color in here on these, and who knows, maybe we'll do something up here. Again, we weren't going to do a painting. This is more of a tutorial on shading, doing stonework and that. And so thank you guys so much for hanging out with me on another episode. I appreciate each and every one of you. I will see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.